Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 77 221 Desperate Struggle. 77th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Chen Wenwu was already deeply shaken by the sudden turn of events. His body was injured, his internal organs ached, and now he saw the two figures descending from above and below, like gods of slaughter, their battle technique intent raging with ferocity. His heart pounded with terror. He didn't have time to think. Hearing the words, "Kill Chen Wenwu first," he landed on his feet and immediately retreated. Then, he turned and activated the spiritual mist concealment technique, bursting off the stone bridge and leaping onto a nearby building. In a flash, he vanished without a trace. That speed was the fastest he'd ever moved in his life. Only one thought filled his mind as he cursed them under his breath: they only dare to pick on the weak. According to Li Wei's plan, the first move was their best chance to kill Yu Zi outright. Yu Zi was indeed formidable, far stronger than ordinary inheritors. In a one-on-one fight, he could crush them within dozens of moves. But aside from Luan Sheng Lin Yu, Zhe Shantong, and Zuoqiu Hong, who dares to claim that they could defeat two inheritors working together? Which inheritor was simple? Each could hold their own against the weakest Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators. Even Kang Li, before he reached perfection in the 7th Sea, had been defeated by the combined power of Long Ting and the Wuxian Golden Ape. Even at his peak, Yu Zi would struggle to withstand the combined attacks of Li Wei and Yang Qingxi for more than 5 moves without defeat. Clang! The Taizan needle's dazzling light pierced the night. Yu Zi dared not close his eyes, instead summoning a surge of spiritual qi and channeling it into his flowing silver mask. The mask detached from his face, coalescing into a mystical silver shield, which blocked Yang Qingxi's first and most dangerous sword strike aimed at his brow. Whoosh! Li Wei unleashed his Sihang Enlightenment Finger Force from afar, summoning a blizzard of snowflakes. The force was overwhelmingly powerful, arriving simultaneously with the Taizan needle. In his current state, how could Yu Zi possibly defend against two such lethal attacks at once? Having barely survived the coffin lid's impact, he swung the 100-character scripture artifact Silver Ruler, which he hadn't even had time to fully activate. Boom! The Silver Ruler shattered the finger force beam. The explosion tore through the night sky, its energy ripples spreading hundreds of meters outward. Li Wei inwardly marveled at Yu Zi's terrifying combat prowess. Even in such a desperate situation, he had managed to withstand their first attack, a feat that defied all logic. This was a carefully planned ambush, and they wouldn't give Yu Zi a moment's respite. As Li Wei launched his Sihang Enlightenment Finger, the yellow dragon sword slashed down diagonally, trailing a crescent-shaped sword radiance. Even the residual energy of the sword radiance cleaved a deep groove into the stone bridge, which was protected by a formation. PFF'd. Yu Zi's newly summoned protective spiritual qi was shattered by the sword radiance. He coughed up blood again, stumbled back several steps, and found it difficult to effectively gather his spiritual qi. At that moment, he loathed Chen Wenwu. If Chen Wenwu hadn't fled and had held off the attack for just a few breaths, Yu Zi could have instantly turned the tide of the battle. The two combatants fought too swiftly for Yu Zi to even attempt escape. Any attempt to turn his back would have meant instant death. The shield formed by the flowing silver mask couldn't withstand Yang Qingxi's sword. Slash! The Taizan needle struck Yu Zi's neck like lightning. The sword tip emerged from the back of his neck. Strangely, Yu Zi remained composed, gritting his teeth and groaning. Instead, he punched Yang Qingxi in the chest. This punch was delivered with pure physical strength. Yang Qingxi's protective spiritual qi and battle technique intent were both shattered. Ultimately, it was the spiritual artifact battle armor she wore that blocked Yu Zi's fist. She was sent flying back several dozen feet, landing on one knee and using her sword to support herself. Gritting her teeth, she spat out a mouthful of blood, her eyes blazing with cold fury as she charged back into the fray. Yang Qingxi knew perfectly well that if she could kill Yu Zi tonight, her father and grandfather would have ample reason and confidence to protect her life before the major families of the Sui sect. Killing Yu Zi would make her and the Sui sect famous throughout the world, and she might even catch the eye of the second palace master. Then I'll fight with everything I have. There would never be another chance like this to change her fate. Never again. Ah. Yu Zi, caught off guard, managed to punch Yang Qingxi away, but Li Wei's sword still sliced through his scalp, taking a chunk of his skull with it. Li Wei had aimed to sever his neck, but Yu Zi's swift movements had allowed him to dodge the fatal blow. Yu Zi was not human, so Yang Qingxi's sword piercing his neck was not immediately fatal. However, having his scalp and skull sliced open by the yellow dragon sword caused him excruciating pain. A strange power invaded his skull and spread throughout his body. He was unable to fully mobilize his spiritual qi, unable to refine it immediately, and had to fend off the relentless, coordinated attacks of his two opponents. Bang! Yang Qingxi's sword pierced Yu Zi's chest. The sword tip was blocked by his spiritual artifact battle armor, but the armor was not fully activated and could not deflect much of the penetrating force. Yu Zi was sent flying backward. Li Wei followed closely, his sword flashing with lightning speed. PFF'd. The sword pierced through Yu Zi's spiritual artifact battle armor, leaving a foot-long gash across his chest, exposing the white bone beneath. Yang Qingxi descended from the sky, thrusting a fatal sword toward Yu Zi's brow. You seek death. The furious roar echoed through the night, causing the stone bridge to collapse with a thunderous crash. After enduring their 3 attacks, Yu Zi finally summoned sufficient spiritual qi, unleashing a dazzling 6-colored radiance from within. Even the blood from his wounds turned 6-colored. Hiss. His robes burst apart, replaced by 6-colored feathers sprouting from his skin. His arms transformed into wings. In an instant, he reverted to his original form, becoming a colossal 6-colored peacock over 10 meters long. His magnificent tail feathers unfurled, ablaze with flames, clashing head-on with a silver river of light descending from the sky, over 10 meters long. PFF'd. The long river intent shattered, and Yang Qingxi was struck by Yu Zi's tail feathers, reduced to a bloody mess as she was sent flying through the air. But the desperate strike had also driven the Taizan needle deep into Yu Zi's body. Even as the giant 6-colored peacock, the wound inflicted by the yellow dragon sword remained horrifyingly visible, growing larger as his body expanded. The sword wound across his chest and abdomen was particularly gruesome, stretching several meters long and half a meter deep. Li Wei's attack failed. Yu Zi's claw tore through his protective spiritual qi, leaving him reeling as if struck by a mountain of 5 fingers. His bones cracked, and he was instantly severely wounded. Against an opponent of this caliber, once Yu Zi regained his composure and stabilized his momentum, any single strike would be nearly impossible for Li Wei to withstand in his current state. This was why he didn't unleash the phoenix-winged moth emperors. They only had a fleeting golden window of opportunity, a mere breath or two, to strike with overwhelming speed. The phoenix-winged moth emperor's current offensive power was unlikely to inflict a fatal wound on Yu Zi, and it would only hinder Li Wei and Yang Qingxi's ability to attack. Li Wei retreated swiftly, seeing the massive 6-colored peacock already consumed by bloodlust and charging forward again. He also noticed the 2 attendants stabilizing their injuries and hurrying back, along with Chen Wenwu, who had fled but was now returning. Realizing the situation was hopeless, he knew they had to retreat, no matter how unwilling he was. Let's go. Li Wei roared, pulling the severely wounded Yang Qingxi back from her desperate attempt to fight on. No. There's still a chance, a once-in-a-millennium opportunity. I won't give up. Yang Qingxi's hair was disheveled, her eyes burning with murderous intent. Slap. Li Wei slapped her hard across the face. Even if they somehow managed to defeat Yu Zi, they would be surrounded by Chen Wenwu and the 2 attendants. In their current severely wounded state, death was inevitable. Yang Qingxi clenched her fists, turned her head, and glared coldly at Li Wei. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, she calmed herself. Let's go. The 2 of them leapt off the broken bridge and plunged into the water. The river was frigid, but because it flowed down from Taoli Peach and Plum Mountain, it had absorbed spiritual qi and hadn't frozen over. Yang Qingxi activated her water escape technique. Li Wei clung tightly to her neck, the sound of rushing water roaring in her ears, incredibly fast, almost eerie. She was too severely injured, and carrying someone else made it even harder. After only 4 miles of escaping along the river, she began coughing up blood. The technique faltered. The 2 of them surfaced. Li Wei sensed something and turned to look back, his scalp prickling with dread. A massive, 6-colored avian shadow soared above the winding river, tracking them by their qi. Its terrifying killing intent sent shivers down their spines even from miles away. Yu Zi possessed the same sensitive spiritual qi perception as the second phoenix, so he knew Yang Qingxi had stolen the 5 chests of Xuanhuan coins. Now, he was using this perception to determine the direction of her water escape. Yang Qingxi finished regulating her qi, her face ashen as death. Trembling, she whispered, let's go. I can still use water escape once more. Li Wei stared intently at the massive avian shadow descending from the sky. We're not running anymore. Since it dared to pursue us alone, we'll send it to its grave. Li Wei had previously feared being cornered by Chen Wenwu and his 2 attendants, fearing they wouldn't be able to escape. But Yu Zi's speed was too great, leaving the 3 pursuers on the ground far behind. This distance was Li Wei's chance to strike. And he had only one chance. Are you going to fight again? We're both severely wounded. We can't afford another battle. We have no chance, Yang Qingxi said. Li Wei replied, exactly. If you think we have no chance, so will he. He's also badly injured. A crazed fighting spirit ignited in Yang Qingxi's eyes. Fine. Let's see whose life is tougher. What spiritual qi level have you reached? 6th level. Excellent. If you can withstand one of his attacks and survive, he's dead today. As long as you still have a breath left, I'll carry you away with me. After stuffing the ghost banner into Yang Qingxi's hands, Li Wei swiftly plunged into the water and vanished. Why aren't you running? Though the yellow dragon sword had wounded Yu Zi's head, he hadn't completely lost his senses. He had pursued them because he knew how severely wounded Yang Qingxi was. She couldn't have gone far. Yang Qingxi stared intently at the rapidly approaching Yu Zi. The wildness in her eyes receded, replaced by an unprecedented state of rationality and calm. She channeled spiritual qi into the ghost banner. Within the ghost banner, nether mist began to churn. Releasing a ghost general took time. In a battle where life and death hung on a moment's decision, this delay was far too long. Yu Zi knew the ghost banner contained a ghost general whose combat prowess rivaled his own. How could he give Yang Qingxi a chance to unleash it? With a fierce beat of his wings, he unleashed his fastest speed, diving down to tear her to shreds before she could act. Whoosh! Li Wei leapt from the water to Yu Zi's right, his feet treading on the golden light of the yellow dragon. In an instant, he appeared above the six-colored peacock's head, 10 yards above the water's surface. 5 battle technique intents manifested behind him, each of the 5 Li Wei figures simultaneously executing martial mystic techniques. Gripping his sword hilt tightly, he raised the blade above his head. In that instant, he unleashed 140% of his combat prowess, reaching inheritor level. Whoosh! A sword chi longer than the 6-colored peacock's body, like a blinding streak of light, slashed across its neck. PFF'd. Head and body separated, blood gushing like a waterfall. The river water turned crimson. The headless peacock corpse plummeted, splashing up a massive spray. It then resurfaced, floating lifelessly on the water. When Chen Wenwu and his 2 attendants arrived, they were met with this horrifying spectacle. Their hearts sank to the depths of despair, and they silently cried out, "Oh heavens, we're doomed." Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 78 222 Reactions from All Sides. 78th of Volume 3. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The several-mile stretch of riverbank from Five Hearts Bridge to where Yu Zi was slain was lined with the city's most prosperous districts, densely packed with towers, pavilions, and mansions, all ablaze with dazzling lights. Even before the formation erupted on Five Hearts Bridge, many martial mystic cultivators in the surrounding buildings had noticed the commotion, triggering gasps of surprise. Li Wei, Yang Qingxi, and Yu Zi's battle had been lightning fast, a flurry of attacks and counterattacks that ended in mere moments. Only a handful of high-realm martial mystic cultivators had managed to follow the action, the rest had barely seen what happened. It wasn't until Yu Zi transformed into a 6-colored peacock and was cleaved in 2 by a sword over the broad Li River that the shockwave of the event truly began to spread. Martial mystic cultivators poured out of the buildings along the riverbank, their voices rising in a clamorous uproar. What? That was Yu Zi, the second-ranked martial mystic cultivator in the Southern Territory first tier. It was indeed him. His ranking was even higher than our Zuaoqiu clan's first inheritor. He was one of the most renowned young talents at this Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. A Dao Seed Realm senior revealed his identity. The man and woman who killed him. It's quite strange. Can you believe it? They weren't even from the first tier. Tisk, tisk. Isn't that obvious? How could 2 first-tier martial mystic cultivators possibly defeat Yu Zi? It must have been Jie Shantong who intervened. Actually, the names and identities of Li Wei and Yang Qingxi were quickly spread by a Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator who happened to be nearby and witnessed the entire event. This news caused an uproar. Who could believe that a rising star at the 5th stage 5 Seas realm, a second-tier martial mystic cultivator from the Southern Territory, could kill Yu Zi, one of the Calamity Crossing Temple's 10 most promising young talents? When Bai Shu, Shi, and Dao Yanyan arrived, the riverbanks were already crowded with martial mystic cultivators from all factions. Bai Shu had been hiding outside the Sui sect's stronghold, preparing to rendezvous with Li Wei. When she saw 3 carriages depart, she sensed something amiss. Unable to find the Zhu Li tribe's experts, she had no choice but to rush back to South City for reinforcements. Martial mystic cultivators had already dispatched the Earth Wolf King's army to seek an audience with the successor of the Zuaoqiu clan. The 3 of them had arrived ahead of the main force. Bai Shu was still shaken by the near disaster. To think those carriages held such terrifying figures as Yu Zi, Chen Wenwu, and the left and right attendants, she muttered to herself, "Thank goodness I didn't rashly attack." As the surrounding martial mystic cultivators recounted the events, the 3 quickly pieced together the truth. Dao Yanyan's face was a mask of shock, as if she were hearing a foreign language. How did they do it? This is completely impossible. Brother Wei always works miracles. It's a pity Bai Shu escaped, otherwise Yang Qingxi wouldn't have had a chance to become famous. Oh no, this is bad. Shi's expression changed as something dawned on him. Dao Yanyan realized it too, immediately pulling out her invitation and searching for the location of nearby Dragon Seed tickets. She said gravely, Li Wei must be severely injured. Chen Wenwu and the left and right attendants didn't even have time to collect Yuzi's body. They probably chased after Bai Shu. We have to find them quickly. She said, that's not what I'm worried about. Think about it. Once this incident comes to light, Brother Wei and Yang Qingxi's past will be dug up. With the demon wind of Yuzi's murder blowing, Streamflow's old stories will surely be dredged up. The world loves to spread and embellish rumors, and they'll focus on the latter. Oh no. Brother Wei's reputation. Stop worrying about that. Saving lives is the priority. Dao Yanyan pinpointed the location of a dragon seed ticket and, along with the two men, set off in pursuit. Beside the Li River. Through the wind and snow, a carriage raced south. Whoosh. Chen Wenwu, like a wisp of mist, caught up. His handsome, upright figure landed in front of the carriage, using a wall of spiritual qi mist to halt its progress. Holding the sword of peace, he cautiously advanced step by step. He dared not let his guard down, fearing to repeat Yuzi's mistake and fall into the trap set by the adulterous pair, Li Wei and Yang Qingxi. The left and right attendants also arrived, flanking the carriage from behind. Chen Wenwu released his spiritual qi to scan the interior. His expression froze, and he quickly stepped forward, flipping the coachman to the ground. My lord! Spare me! The carriage window slid open. A terrified scream erupted from within. It was a family of three, not Li Wei and Yang Qingxi at all. After searching, he found Yang Qingxi's dragon seed ticket hidden beneath the carriage. At any other time, Chen Wenwu would have been ecstatic. But now, holding the ticket, his heart burned with fury. He felt as if he had been trampled and humiliated. What's the use of having a dragon seed ticket now? When Yuzi is dead. The only way for the three of them to survive is to capture Li Wei and Yang Qingxi. Otherwise, they face either death or a fate worse than death. The left and right attendants, now transformed into ember spirits, glared with fiery eyes, their murderous intent palpable as they prepared to tear the three people in the carriage to shreds. Just then, a Taoist-robed woman from the Calamity Crossing Temple arrived late, gracefully landing on a snow-covered treetop. She declared, if you harm any innocent civilians, this immortal envoy will take your lives. Each martial mystic cultivator holding an invitation will receive only one warning. No one had anticipated such a sudden and drastic turn of events. The battle had ended before the Calamity Crossing Temple's 12 patrolling immortal envoys could even arrive. The left and right attendants restrained themselves. Chen Wenwu quickly regained his composure and analyzed, those two are severely injured and must conceal their tracks and auras. They can't have gone far. Mobilize all our forces to intercept them on their way back to South City. What? Yuzi is dead. Upon receiving Bai Shu's distress call, Zuoqiu Ting immediately set out, arriving near Five Hearts Bridge. A scout from the Zuoqiu clan reported the details. After hearing the scout's detailed account, Zuoqiu Ting was stunned. He had clashed with Yuzi more than once and knew the man's true strength. His combat prowess was so formidable that even two successors working together might not have been able to defeat him. Killing Yuzi would have been an even greater challenge. Following the scout, Zuoqiu Ting saw the massive carcass of the six-colored peacock floating on the water. Using his intent to sense the sword qi on the wounds, he concluded, he's become even stronger. How could his cultivation progress so rapidly? Immediately dispatch all 5th stage 5 Seas realm experts from the Zuoqiu clan and the Zhu Li tribe to intercept Li Wei and stop the pursuit from the far western ashlands. He then added, before the martial mystic cultivators from the far western ashlands arrive, retrieve the carcass and deliver it to the prefectural governor's mansion. Present it to Zhe Shantong and Zhang Ning to congratulate the imperial court's martial mystic cultivators on slaying Yuzi. Tang Wancho sat in the main hall, her expression grim. She was reflecting on today's defeat, searching for the root of the problem. She realized she had been too eager for glory, overestimating her own abilities and underestimating the cunning of the number one expert in the world. The hall's flickering lamps cast shadows that danced and shifted, mirroring her turbulent emotions. Tang Chen, the second successor of the Snowsword Tang court, strode in. Have Kang Li and the others already returned to South City? Tang Wancho asked. Wancho, something terrible has happened. Tang Chen said, his voice grave and shocked, Li Wei killed Yuzi. A sharp light flashed in Tang Wancho's eyes as she looked up. What did you say? Yuzi is dead. Li Wei beheaded him with a single sword strike. This is absolutely true. They say that the killing blow manifested 5 different battle intents simultaneously, hovering in midair and transforming into 5 divine figures, just like the legendary heroes of ancient tales. Even the ancient celestial emperor in her youth couldn't have achieved such a feat. I was just seeing Kang Li and the others off when someone rushed in with the news. The Zhu Li tribe members have all rushed over there. It's unbelievable, it happened right near Five Hearts Bridge. Five Hearts Bridge. Tang Wancho possessed perfect recall. She had already memorized the map of Chu Prefecture City. After hearing Tang Chen's detailed account, she quickly accepted the unbelievable truth. No matter how he did it, the fact remains, his reputation at the Calamity Crossing Temple is now on par with Luansheng Linyu, Zhe Shantong, and Zuoqiu Hong. Tang Chen's eyes darkened. Yu Zi was the first of the 10 great masters to fall, and he was killed by someone 2 realms below him. I believe that if Li Wei survives, he has a good chance of being recognized as a hidden dragon. The Zhu Li tribe is incapable of conquering the world, but the Zuoqiu clan is rising with the tide. Without Tang Chen needing to explain further, Tang Wanzhou understood the gravity of the situation. This matter affected not only the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival but also the balance of power across the land. If the Calamity Crossing Temple firmly supported the Zuoqiu clan would soon become the Snow Sword Tang Court's greatest rival. In that case, Tang Wanzhou's defeat at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival would be absolute. Tang Wanzhou said, I understand. Since Li Wei is severely injured, the far western Ashlands and other factions will undoubtedly hunt him down relentlessly, determined to prevent this hidden dragon from returning to South City or joining forces with Zhu Li tribe experts. For now, let's avoid playing the villain. The Zhu Li tribe still has value to us. Here's what we'll do, have Wanyan Shao seek out Li Wei. We must appear to be trying to save him. West City. Luansheng Linyu emerged from seclusion after recovering from his injuries. Standing in the corridor, his long silver hair cascaded like a waterfall, his expression calm as he listened to the left attendant's trembling report on bended knee. I understand. In just 7 days, his cultivation has reached a new level. Luansheng Linyu's eyes remained utterly impassive. Mobilize all forces from the San Chen Palace, Night City, and Guanshan. Find him and kill him. If you 3 can't even handle a severely wounded man, never return. The left attendant kowtowed heavily to the ground before retreating. Ming Niansheng, summon all experts above the 3rd realm of the 5 Seas realm from the Demon Clan, Ember Spirit, K Clan, and Quanrong. Tonight, we will attack the Zhu clan. Ming Niansheng was taken aback. Attack the Zhu clan tonight. Shouldn't we avenge Yu Zi first? I think we should seize this chaotic situation to catch the Zhu Li tribe off guard and eliminate them first. Luansheng Linyu said, when everyone thinks we're here tonight for revenge, that's precisely the perfect opportunity to take down the Zhu clan. Qi Jin, still wearing Zhuang Yu's human skin, praised, young venerable, this feint is brilliant. Mobilizing all the martial mystic cultivators from the San Chen Palace, Night City, and Guanshan for a grand citywide manhunt is just a smokescreen. It's sure to mislead the Zhu clan's greatest ally, the Zuoqiu clan, into misjudging our true intentions. They'll divert their forces to search for Li Wei and protect the Zhu Li tribe. After all, the Zhu Li tribe is their true ally, while the Zhu clan was merely a temporary partner during the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. Who could have predicted that we could suppress our rage and, despite suffering such heavy losses, seize this perfect opportunity to unify the Western Territory? Luansheng Linyu turned to her. Qi Jin, after Yu Zi's death, you must raise the banner and hold the line. Tonight, I entrust you with the headquarters and immortality pill tickets of the Ashen region. I won't fail you, Qi Jin replied. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 79 223 The Main Reason for Murder. 79th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. In East City of Chu Prefecture City, dozens of hills dotted the landscape. The highest of these hills barely exceeded 200 meters. Taoist temples and halls had been built on each of these hills. However, with the decline of the Taoist branch of the Zuoqiu sect 1,000 years ago, the influence of these temples and halls had waned considerably. More than half had fallen into near ruin, their incense offerings dwindling. The 8th day of the first lunar month. The snow had stopped. The first rays of sunlight struck Wuxia Purple Haze Mountain, located just outside East City's outer district. At the Chengqing Evergreen Temple atop the mountain, the copper bells hanging from the eaves swayed in the wind, their melodious chimes echoing through the air. The bells reflected dazzling points of light. Morning light streamed through the latticed windows, illuminating the bed in the guest hall. Yang Qingxi awoke to the sound of the bells and the sunlight warming her face. Her entire body ached, the metallic tang of blood filled her nostrils, her clothes were sticky, and she was covered by a blanket. She turned his head slightly to look at Li Wei, who was seated in a cross-legged position a dozen feet away, beneath the 8 trigrams diagram. Closing her eyes again, she spoke in a voice barely above a whisper, you kept your word. Did you give me the 9 medicine rejuvenation pill, the healing elixir of the Zhu Li clan? Li Wei opened his eyes. I got it from Kang Li earlier. He had plenty. That'll be 10,000 Yongquan coins. Yang Qingxi said, do you really think I wouldn't know the price of a 9 medicine rejuvenation pill, given the Sui sect's relationship with the Zhu Li clan? Fine, 1,000 Yongquan coins it is. I'll owe you for now. She was too exhausted to even speak. Closing her mouth, she channeled her spiritual qi through her meridian veins, beginning to heal her wounds. Li Weiyi's physical recovery was remarkable. By noon, his injuries were nearly healed. After eating a meal, he returned to the guest hall. He swallowed a spoonful of immortal soil, continuing to sculpt his muscles and internal organs while using the qi tempering art to refine the spiritual qi in his fourth C. Now that he had recovered the 5 chests of Xuanhuan coins, he had money and medicine. He could focus entirely on his cultivation. Consolidating his cultivation and tempering his physical body were his top priorities. He shuddered at the memory of last night's perilous situation. Fortunately, the spiritual qi in his fourth C had functioned normally. Had anything gone wrong, the consequences would have been unimaginable. As for the external situation, he didn't believe it concerned him much. Others could worry about those matters. That evening, Li Weiyi went to eat another vegetarian meal. Returning to his room, he saw Yang Qingxi sitting up on the bed, bathed in moonlight streaming through the window. He lit a lamp. Yang Qingxi's injuries had stabilized, and her expression was impassive. Where's my dragon seed ticket? Do you think we can keep the dragon seed ticket after last night's situation? Li Weiyi asked. Yang Qingxi tilted her snow-white chin, her eyes filled with anticipation. What about Yuzi? Is he dead? Dead. Li Weiyi replied. Yang Qingxi leaned back against the wall, a satisfied smile playing on her lips, lost in the glory of her extraordinary achievement. As she leaned back, her tattered, stiffened blood-soaked clothes tore at her scabbed wounds, causing her lips to twitch in pain. I thought you'd at least change my clothes and call a couple of maids to clean my wounds. Do you know how unbearable it is to have dried blood completely stuck to your skin? Li Weiyi found this amusing. You didn't seem so delicate when you were fighting for your life last night. But I'm sorry, the Chengqing Evergreen Temple is full of men. We probably can't find any maids. Change her clothes. Why make things more complicated? Saving her life was already more than enough. Yang Qingxi frowned, puzzled. Chengqing Evergreen Temple. Are we in South City or North City right now? Li Weiyi's expression turned serious. If we return to South City, we're likely to run into people from the far western ashlands. And even if we don't, if we encounter martial mystic cultivators from the Zhu clan, I wouldn't care, but they'd probably tear you to shreds. You're right. East City. No one would have thought we'd hide here. Yang Qingxi's eyes suddenly lit up with a captivating smile. Li Weiyi, do you have even the slightest bit of feelings for me? Otherwise, why would you be so worried about me being killed by a Zhu clan martial mystic cultivator? Li Weiyi walked to the bedside and stared at her intently. What are you looking at? Yang Qingxi asked. I'm checking to see if the 6 Desires talisman is acting up. Li Weiyi remained wary of Yang Qingxi. This woman was deeply cunning. After waking up, she deliberately brought up topics like changing her clothes and having feelings because she was currently too weak to defend herself. She was using her beauty to manipulate him and keep him on her side. Fine. Since I'm relying on you, young Master Li, to protect this weak woman, I suppose I was being presumptuous. But until my injuries heal, I won't be removing the 6 Desires talisman with you. At this moment, Yang Qingxi displayed a tender, feminine side that was utterly captivating. Every word and gesture was designed to stir a man's protective instincts. The 6 Desires talisman was indeed a troublesome problem. While the 9 great priests could work together to refine it, who would choose the difficult path when there was an easier one? Moreover, the 9 great priests' combined efforts were fraught with uncertainties. It was only to be used as a last resort. No rush, I'm not in a hurry either. When it truly flares up, let's see who cracks first. Li Weiyi left the guest hall and headed towards the bathing room. Moments later, 2 Taoist robed men arrived carrying a wooden tub filled with hot water and prepared a clean set of blue Taoist robes. Once everything was ready, the 2 men exited the guest hall, closed the door, and began praising Li Weiyi in the courtyard outside. Senior brother Li, your wife is truly beautiful, like fairy Yunxiao descending to the mortal realm. Is she a pure immortal physique? Li Weiyi gave each of them a handful of Xuanhuan coins, whispering, she's not my wife, she's an enemy. Remember, keep this a secret. So, she's the enemy's wife. Ah. Respect, respect. After accepting the coins, the 2 men took their leave. Li Weiyi stood beneath the eaves, hands clasped behind his back, listening to the tinkling of wind chimes overhead and gazing at the bright moon in the sky. Inside, the sound of bathing water filled the room. After a long while, Yang Qingxi emerged wearing a loose blue Taoist robe, her slender waist cinched with a belt. Her long hair was tied up with a wooden hairpin, giving her an ethereal, otherworldly air, very much like a Taoist fairy. The scars on her face and neck, inlaid against her jade-white skin, added a touch of poignant vulnerability. What a peaceful night. I don't know why, but I've never felt this tranquil before. It's as if my entire being is relaxed, free from the need to think about anything. She leapt into the air and landed on the tiled roof, her exceptionally long jade legs dangling directly above Li Weiyi. Gazing at the moonlit sky and the lights flickering in the mountains below, she smiled radiantly into the wind, her beauty unparalleled. Li Wei, although we've managed to evade the notice of the younger generation of martial mystic cultivators and escape here, we can't possibly escape the scrutiny of the older generation. Why hasn't that old geezer from the Zhuli clan come to Chengqing Evergreen Temple to find you? I suspect he's deeply distressed to see me with you. Li Wei replied, concealment and search are part of the test. For the older generation to interfere would be against the rules. Besides, we're not that close. Just because we shared a room doesn't make us allies. Yang Qingshi countered, what about in the coffin? I didn't think much of it at the time, but the more I reflect on it, the more I feel like I was taken advantage of. If my future husband were to find out about that, I'd never get married. I didn't recall anything. I only know Yang Qingchen was in the coffin at the time. The moment Li Wei said this, he realized his mistake. A long silence fell between them. Li Wei leapt onto the eaves of the house. Yang Qingshi looked up at him, bathed in moonlight. What? Did you think I'd be consumed by grief and need comforting? You're disappointed. Li Wei asked, why did Yao Qian kill Yang Qingchen? Yang Qingshi's composure finally cracked. Her eyes began to moisten, and she forced a bitter smile, because you planted the Six Desires talisman on her. Do you believe me? Li Wei didn't know how to respond. She continued, because she loved the wrong person. Yao Qian is too perfect. The more perfect a person is, the more they strive for ultimate perfection. Can you imagine someone like him accepting his woman being marked by an enemy's Six Desires talisman? If word got out, his reputation as a noble gentleman would be shattered. Li Wei said, I heard that Yao Qian has caught the eye of the second palace master. With her cultivation, it shouldn't be difficult for her to help someone dissolve a Six Desires talisman. That's precisely the main reason. Yang Qingshi replied, I learned from the sect leader that the second palace master intends to arrange a marriage for Yao Qian with the eldest daughter of the prestigious Zhang clan. For this to happen, Yao Qian must sever all ties to his past. Therefore, Qingchen must die. Your actions and the Six Desires talisman within her body were merely catalysts. They provided Yao Qian with the perfect opportunity to frame someone else and a reason to convince himself and Qingchen. Li Wei asked, he had to convince her before he could kill Yang Qingchen. Yang Qingshi said, cultivators always want to shift blame onto others. It allows them to clear their minds and purify their hearts. Li Wei asked, does Yang Shenzheng, the sect leader of the Sui sect, know the truth? This time, Yang Qingshi hesitated. She didn't want to reveal the ugly side of the Sui sect to a stranger who was neither friend nor foe. But tonight, for some reason, she felt an overwhelming urge to confide. As if she would suffocate if she didn't speak. The second palace master arranged the marriage between Yao Qian and Qingchen not only because of his potential and abilities, but also because of the Sui sect's strength, Dao said. In terms of top-tier experts, the Sui sect's foundation is indeed still quite thin, not comparable to the ancient myriad sects. However, the Sui sect controls half of the Lingxiao realm's water transportation lifeline. Its influence extends across the 7 prefectures along the Sui River, reaching into more than a dozen prefectures. Their business spans all industries, and in terms of manpower, intelligence, and other resources, they are absolutely on par with the ancient myriad sects. Who wouldn't want to bring such a force under their control? By granting Yao Qian a marriage, the second palace master could secure a powerful ally for the Sui sect within the imperial court, allowing them to quickly integrate into the system instead of facing attacks and exclusion from various factions within the court. This is what both the Sui sect and the second palace master wanted to see. So, in the face of the sect's future, what does Qingchen's death matter? The sect leader could only turn a blind eye. Li Wei asked, who is the Zhang clan's eldest daughter you mentioned earlier? Who else could it be but Zhang Ning? Yang Qingshi replied. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 80 224 Muscles, Viscera, and Immortal Haze. 80th of Volume 3. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Under a moonlit, star-scattered sky, a gentle breeze swept across the land. Li Wei felt that everything in this world, every person, was driven forward by various interests, and no one could truly control their own destiny. Zhang Ning probably wouldn't be interested in Yao Qian, he murmured. Yang Qingshi laughed. You're completely mistaken. There aren't many women in this world who could refuse Yao Qian. In terms of character, talent, appearance, innate talent, temperament, and eloquence, he's truly peerless. He's a heaven's chosen who is destined to break through to the immortal realm in the 60-year cycle, second only to Zhuao Ling. He might even have already broken through to the immortal realm. An immortal realm giant, a divine being who has transcended life and death. You're not Zhang Ning, what makes you think she wouldn't be interested? 100 silver meridians is indeed extraordinary. But it's still just innate talent. Whether he can reach the immortal realm in the future is far from certain. It's only because the immortality pill and dragon seed appeared at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival that young martial mystic cultivators like us were given a chance to leap to the heavens in a single bound. A chance that everyone is willing to risk their lives for. The path of cultivation is fraught with life or death trials at every major realm, a climb as arduous as ascending to the heavens. Look at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. It's teeming with young masters, each extraordinary, all at the peak of the Five Seas realm. Yet, some among them will likely spend their entire lives never reaching the Dao Seed realm. Li Wei asked, so you admit Yao Qian's character is irreproachable? It's not just me who admits it. The entire world does. Yang Qingshi continued, do you know why I'm telling you, an enemy, the Sui sect's dirty secret? Because even if you were to reveal it, no one would believe you. They'd only assume you were jealous, engaging in petty revenge, spreading rumors, and slandering. Decades of cultivating a reputation can't be destroyed with a single sentence. Not even if the sect leader himself revealed the truth would the world believe it. They'd likely suspect the sect leader was simply envious of Yao Qian's talent. Besides, if you involve the second palace master, you're doomed. So, if you're eager to die, go ahead and spread the word. I won't admit a single word of it. Guess again. When the Zhang clan finds out, will they kill you or believe you? Li Wei realized that the Calamity Crossing Temple might not even know about Yang Qingqian's death, since she wasn't the one who had the invitation. Yao Qian must have been confident that no one in the city would find out. The so-called immortal masters and immortal patrol envoys were just powerful cultivators, not true immortals. They couldn't possibly know everything. Li Wei said, you didn't have to tell me any of this. I might have fallen for the trap, using Yang Qingqian's death to attack Yao Qian. Then I'd kill one enemy at the cost of 1,000 of my own. Yang Qingshi hugged her knees, her beautiful eyes gazing down at the city and streets below. Li Wei. Can we make peace? I don't want to be your enemy anymore. Afraid? Li Wei asked. A little, Yang Qingshi admitted, but more importantly, why fight when we can sit down and talk? Li Wei said, if I were still a surging spring realm martial mystic cultivator, would you even give me a chance to talk? When you're high above, killing someone is as easy as stepping on an ant. If you think you're about to lose, just call for a truce. Where in the world does such a thing happen? Yang Qingshi said, that's why I can't wait any longer. I'm afraid that if I wait, there won't even be a chance to negotiate a truce. Right now, I and the Sui sect still have the opportunity and strength to kill you, which gives us the right to negotiate. Don't you think? Seeing her serious expression, Li Wei also spoke seriously. Let's set aside the grievances between the Sui sect and the Zhu Li tribe for now. You sent people to hunt me down, hired assassins to deal with me, and even tried to take my life personally. I've barely survived several near-death experiences. Do you think you can just brush all that aside? Well, you also slapped me. No one has ever dared to do that before. If it were anyone else, I would have made them pay with their life. So that slap is worth a life, Yang Qingshi said. Li Wei was speechless, too lazy to argue about right and wrong. Then let's start by settling the score for the time you sent people to hunt me down outside Zhu Li City. So it really can be settled. How about you slap me a few more times? I'll pay off the debt as quickly as possible, Yang Qingshi said with a smile in her eyes, looking at him. Li Wei leapt off the eaves and pushed open the door to the guest hall. There was no way to continue the conversation. Yang Qingshi was too cunning. While her desire to dispel their grievances might be genuine, her youth and rapid rise to leadership of the Sui sect's generation suggested that everything she showed on the surface was merely a means to an end. Li Wei decided to get a good night's rest. He had been cultivating non-stop lately, and his mental state was showing signs of fatigue. After all, he was still immortal, unable to go without sleep indefinitely. Seeing her strategy had brought Li Wei to the brink of defeat, Yang Qingshi pressed her advantage. Like a gentle breeze, she followed him into the guest hall, closed the door behind her, and lay down on the bed, pushing Li Wei toward the wall. Make some room. Are you crazy? Li Wei frowned deeply, sitting up to glare at her. Yang Qingshi lay flat on her back, her beautiful eyes fixed on the ceiling, her hands resting on her abdomen. She returned his earlier words, you don't think just because we're sharing a bed, we're suddenly on the same side, do you? I'm severely injured. You want me to sleep on the floor. Besides, we need to stay in the same room so we can watch out for each other in case anything happens. In Chu Prefecture City right now, there's no place that's truly safe. Li Wei didn't want to say more. He turned to his side and continued sleeping. Yang Qingxi's voice sounded behind him. I can let you hit me, but you'll have to wait. My injuries are too severe right now, I'm afraid I won't be able to withstand it. Li Wei was completely roused from his sleep by her teasing. He wanted to go outside for some fresh air. Turning around, he said, if you want to settle this, we can. Money, resources, anything can be negotiated as long as the price is right. I don't want to be constantly watched by Sui sect experts. Name your price, Yang Qingxi said. Li Wei named an exorbitant sum, 5 million Xuanhuan coins. You dare to dream. Even if I sold myself, I wouldn't fetch that price. If I had 5 million Yongquan coins, I'd hire an immortal realm giant to turn you into dust, make sure you're dead and gone. After a long silence, Yang Qingxi countered with a different offer, 5 times. I'll let you hit me 5 times. Li Wei knew she was deliberately provoking him. He replied sternly, Yang Qingxi, do you really think you can decide whether we settle this? After the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, everyone will return to their rightful places. If you had a Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator backing you, would you still be so wary of me? Would you still be so humble? Yang Qingxi replied, you're absolutely right. But since the Sui sect pledged allegiance to the imperial court, our conflicts have actually softened. Li Wei, I understand your talent and abilities better than anyone else in the world. I'm the only one who has watched you grow step by step as your enemy. The overwhelming pressure you exude, combined with your tenacious vitality and fighting spirit, has already revealed the outline of a young emperor. I spent all day today pondering this. If we can't reconcile now, what heights will you reach in 10 years? In 100 years? Can the Sui sect bear the consequences? Continuing to kill you carries the risk of failure. But reconciliation carries no risk at all. I can't change the will of the Sui sect's upper echelons, but if I obtain a dragon seed and make rapid progress in the Dao Seed realm, I'll definitely be in charge of all matters, large and small, within the Sui sect. Yao Qian wants to kill you, and you're in danger. But I can help you to some extent. Don't you think my bargaining chips are quite substantial? Li Wei didn't fully trust her words, but he gave her a chance. He tossed out, you owe me 5 million Yongquan coins, and immediately fell asleep. In his hazy state, he heard Yang Qingxi say, that's 1 million Yongquan coins per session. If I can't pay, we'll settle it this way. 4 days later. The 12th day of the Lunar New Year. Li Wei had finished refining and absorbing a pound of immortal soil the previous night. Finally, around noon today, his muscles and internal organs underwent a dramatic transformation, their resilience and strength surging forward by leaps and bounds. Strands of immortal haze mist drifted through his muscles and internal organs, swirling and twisting endlessly. The second step of physical cultivation was complete. He had taken a giant leap toward achieving a Dao body. All that remained was to refine his tendons and reshape his skin with divine stove wood. Li Wei sat cross-legged on the ground and threw a punch, relying solely on his physical strength. Boom! As his fist struck out, the air exploded with a deafening roar. The resulting airflow coalesced into a visible shockwave that slammed against the formation barrier in the room, causing the barrier to tremble violently. My physical strength has increased dramatically, and my internal organs have grown stronger. Now, I should be able to withstand a blow from UZ with relative ease. But I wonder how far I still lag behind inheritor-level experts. Just 5 days ago, a single exchange with UZ had left Li Wei severely injured. Inheritor-level masters also cultivated their physical bodies, so Li Wei didn't believe catching up would be easy. However, his muscles and internal organs were forged with immortal soil, giving him a significant advantage. Yang Qingxi's injuries had healed by 50 to 60%, and even her external wounds had vanished without a trace. No longer content to remain hidden within the Chengqing Evergreen Temple, she pulled Li Wei down the mountain to investigate the current situation in the city. Only 3 days remain until the Xuanhuan festival. How can you remain so calm? Don't you want to compete for a dragon seed ticket and a dragon bone ticket? The two of them entered the inner city and settled into a courtyard-style teahouse frequented by young martial mystic cultivators. The latest news about the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival spread like wildfire here every day. Li Wei had used the disguise technique, while Yang Qingxi wore a veil and a hooded cloak. Seated on the second floor, Yang Qingxi continued, even just a single dragon bone, once refined into the body, can instantly elevate one's physical strength and resilience to the level of a Battle Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator. It also offers immeasurable benefits for cultivating an immortal body in the future. The dragon bone is said to be the remains of a flying dragon slain by the Mist Heavenly Emperor. It's rumored to have been an emperor-level creature, brimming with vitality and possessing immense energy. Li Wei's interest peaked. What if one were to refine too? Yang Qingxi shook her head gently. I don't know. All I know is that I must secure both a dragon seed and a dragon bone at this Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. Success will guarantee me a place among the elite for the next decade. Failure means I'll forever lag behind my peers. What about the immortality pill? Li Wei asked. Yang Qingxi rolled her eyes at him. Do you think opportunities like killing UZ will come again? Even if you had killed him, did you see a immortality pill? Just watch. Over the next 3 days, every martial mystic cultivator holding a immortality pill, Luansheng Linyu, Zhe Shantong, and Zuoqiu Hong included, will face a grueling ordeal. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 81 225 Catching the Adulterer. 81st of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. In the tea house, martial mystic cultivators from various major powers discussed the major events of the past few days. After the Zhu sect's defeat, Zhuo Hong intervened to save Zhu Yibai. Rumor has it that the heartless golden ape, along with the demon race martial mystic cultivators from Heavenly Cliff Ridge, have also pledged allegiance to the Zhuo sect, rather than siding with the far western Ashlands. Heavenly Cliff Ridge is, after all, located deep within the Southern Territory, right under the Zhuo sect's nose. It's not the same as Coffin Mountain, which lies on the edge of the Southern Territory, or Night City, hidden within the Nether Realm of the Dead. The Zhuo sect's prestige is growing by the day. They've nearly unified South City, and their overall strength is now comparable to that of the Imperial Court in the far western Ashlands. Li Wai and Yang Qingxi have been missing for 5 days, as if they've vanished into thin air. Various factions have scoured the entire city, yet not a trace of them has been found. Rumor has it they were killed long ago by a powerful figure from the far western Ashlands. After offending Luan Sheng Linyu, how could they possibly have escaped? It's true that Yang Qingxi's dragon seed ticket fell into Luan Sheng Linyu's hands. What a pity. Killing a top-tier expert like Yu Zi should have brought them fame across the land. Hearing this, Yang Qingxi sneered, about to retort with a sharp remark. Suddenly, a familiar, mocking laughter echoed through the room. Where did you hear such nonsense? As far as I know, those two are hiding somewhere, living it up. Ever heard of stream flow? Of course, of course. Everyone says young Master Li is a man of his word. If he says he'll do something, he'll do it. Whether it's defeating all enemies in 5 moves or making grand pronouncements like stream flow, his words never fail to come true. If he hadn't truly captured Yang Qingxi, how could they possibly have joined forces against a common enemy, given their bitter feud? Behind her veil, Yang Qingxi's face turned ashen. She turned to look at Shi Luyu and Shi Zhoujai as they descended the stairs, sending Li Wai a spiritual qi transmission. Did you really say those vulgar words? Li Wai could only force a bitter smile, burying his head to pour tea for Shi Luyu and Shi Zhoujai ahead of time. If I had such intentions, Miss Yang, would you dare to share a roof with me? What are we even talking about? Heavens, stop it. May I never hear that word again in my life. Shi Luyu sat down at the tea table where the two were seated, picked up his tea, and took a sip. He then turned to Li Wai with a curious grin, asking, Young Li, how was the stream? Dharma King, I'm right here. Yang Qingxi rapped her knuckles on the table, her voice cold. Bang. Shi Zhoujai kicked Shi Luyu. It was fine to talk like that before, when we were enemies. But things are different now. She's our sister-in-law. Show some respect. Shi Luyu immediately clasped his hands in apology to the two of them. My mistake, 6th brother. I'll punish myself with 3 cups of wine at your wedding. No need for self-punishment. Just settle the bill. Li Wai stood up and left without waiting, unwilling to stay with Shi Luyu and Shi Zhoujai any longer. With so many people around, anyone who saw the 2 Dharma Kings sharing a table with them would surely suspect his and Yang Qingxi's identities. Their true identities and whereabouts could easily be exposed. Yang Qingxi followed closely behind, hurrying down the stairs. After leaving the tea house, they walked along the bustling street. Yang Qingxi said, those 2 must have been sent by the old geezers of the Zhu Li clan, deliberately trying to expose your whereabouts and drive us apart, forcing you back to South City. Li Wai, let's part ways here. Li Wai replied, I still think we should resolve the 6 desires talisman first. Help me rescue Yang Jiyong, and I'll immediately lift the talisman on you and pay you a generous reward. Don't be so quick to refuse. Given the rumors swirling around us now, if I ask Shi for help, he'll be more than happy to assist me in saving him. Yang Qingxi smiled. Then go find him. I want nothing more to do with the Sui sect's affairs. Li Wai turned and headed towards the Chengqing Evergreen Temple. Yang Qingxi watched his retreating figure, the smile gradually fading from her eyes. Li Wei's unwavering resolve had exceeded her expectations. Despite employing every trick in her arsenal, she couldn't shake him. Such a person was impossible to subdue. Only now did Yang Qingxi truly begin to consider whether to make a full-fledged effort at reconciliation or, after the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, have the sect leader eliminate him at any cost to prevent future trouble. There was a crucial question Yang Qingxi hadn't even mentioned to Li Wai. The feud between the Sui sect and the Zhu Li clan was destined to entangle them both. Reconciliation would be far more difficult than eliminating the threat. Her gaze as calm as still water, Yang Qingxi emerged from her deep thoughts and realized she was standing at a crossroads. Returning to the Chengqing Evergreen Temple, Li Wai sensed someone inside the guest hall he shared with Yang Qingxi even before he was 10 meters away. He stopped and circulated his spiritual qi. Zhuo Ting's voice drifted from within. You came back alone. Where's Miss Yang? Li Wai quickened his pace, reached the door, and saw the 3 people inside. He chuckled, how did you find me? Zhuo Ting sat in a chair, holding a folding fan and crossing his legs, facing the door directly. Shi was sprawled on the bed, his rear end sticking up in the air like a fat cat sniffing everywhere. I can smell both of your scents. Brother Wei, did you two sleep for 5 days? Qi Xiao was examining the table and windows, searching for suspicious traces. Impressive. He gave Li Wei a thumbs up and bowed deeply. Young Master Li, please teach me the true scripture. How did you manage to win over a woman like Yang Qingxi? She's one of the top female powerhouses among the younger generation in the Southern Territory, strong in skill, sharp in mind, and formidable in ability. Li Wei entered the room and sat beside Zhuo Ting. What are you doing in the Eastern Territory? Did you come specifically to catch me in the act? Ha ha. Zhuo Ting laughed. If we wanted to catch you in the act, we would have come 3 days ago, and we would have brought Li Ling with us. See. I'm a loyal friend. I didn't bring a single martial mystic cultivator from the Zhu clan, fearing it would make things difficult for you. You knew we were at the Changqing Evergreen Temple 3 days ago. Li Wei asked. To be precise, I knew the afternoon after you hid there. But I was too busy then, and knowing you needed to recover, I didn't disturb you. Zhuo Ting's expression turned serious. Do you know what the Zhuo sect's greatest advantage is at this hidden dragon lantern festival? Our network of informants spread throughout every corner of the city. The fact that you evaded this net for a day and a night is already remarkable. Li Wei asked, are you preparing to move against the Dragon sect and the Thundercloud sect? Couldn't I just be here to check on you two ruthless killers who took down Yuzi? Li Wei, you've done me a great favor. Without Yuzi, Luansheng Linyu is no longer invincible, and their operational capabilities are severely limited. Zhuo Ting said. The location of the immortality pill ticket will be displayed on all first class, second class, and third class invitations. If Luansheng Linyu carries the immortality pill ticket, any movement they make will expose their location in advance. If they leave the immortality pill ticket at their base without a top-tier expert like Yuzi to guard it, their stronghold could easily be raided. Zhuo Ting continued, I came to the Eastern Territory not to target the Dragon sect and the Thundercloud sect, but precisely to protect them. Because tonight, the Imperial Court, the far western Ashlands, and the Snow Sword Tang Court are planning to join forces to eliminate the two insects of the Eastern Territory and divide all the immortality pills, dragon seeds, and dragon bones in the region. Li Wei instantly understood. Their next target is the Zhuo sect. Zhuo Ting nodded. The Zhuo sect's recent rise has been too meteoric. If the three factions weren't worried about the Dragon sect and Thundercloud sect taking advantage, they would have attacked us tonight. Now, the presence of the Dragon sect and Thundercloud sect has become a restraining force against them. Li Wei muttered to himself, no wonder. Shi Luyu and Shi Zhoujai's appearance had been an attempt to force him to leave the Eastern Territory, the eye of this brewing storm. They had come to warn him. Qi Xiao said, Brother Wei, you still haven't gotten a dragon seed ticket or a dragon bone ticket, have you? Why don't we grab one each tonight while the chaos is raging? The Dharma King Shi and I will help you. Thank you for the offer, Brother Qi, but I'm not in a hurry. Li Wei was naturally interested in the rewards offered by the Calamity Crossing Temple, but he felt that having his location locked down was too dangerous. That's why he hadn't actively sought them out. Then let us two help you get them, Shi said. Li Wei suddenly realized something and turned to Zhuo Ting in surprise. Wait a minute. With such a massive operation tonight, you only brought these two to save the Dragon sect and Thundercloud sect. Yang Qingxi rode in her carriage back to Northern City. As she approached the prefectural governor's office, the carriage was stopped by an imperial court-martial mystic Dao expert at the 6th sea of the 5 seas realm. He shouted coldly, who goes there? Are you unaware of imperial court regulations? No carriages or unauthorized personnel are permitted within 10 meters of the prefectural governor's office. Violators will be executed. Yang Qingxi lifted the carriage curtain and stepped out. Outside, a crowd of imperial court-martial mystic cultivators had gathered, each with a wary expression. Yang Qingxi removed her veil, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful face. Sui sect, Yang Qingxi. I wasn't aware the imperial court had such a rule. What? She's Yang Qingxi. The Yang Qingxi who killed Yuzi. Could she be the Ember Spirit? The imperial court's martial mystic cultivators, still holding their long spear spiritual artifacts, were in a frenzy of discussion. Some were shocked, others awestruck, and still others admiring. One martial mystic cultivator had already rushed through the prefectural governor's office gates to report the matter. Yang Qingxi knew these imperial court-martial mystic cultivators were all bullies who only respected the strong. She deliberately let out a haughty, cold laugh. Even the top expert under Luansheng Linyu fell by my hand. What Ember Spirit dares to peel my skin now? The 6th sea martial mystic cultivator from before immediately stepped forward and bowed. Miss Yang, I sincerely apologize. The Dragon-Tiger struggle in Chu Prefecture City has intensified daily, with martial mystic cultivators and carriages bringing thunder law profound ice to break through our gates and formations. That's why this rule was established. If we've offended you, please forgive us. Zhang Ning personally came to the prefectural governor's office gates to greet Yang Qingxi, her voice cold as ice. Yang Qingxi, the second palace master wishes to see you. Yang Qingxi immediately suppressed her arrogance and strode through the gates. She paused briefly beside Zhang Ning, bowed, and said, Qingxi is unworthy of such an honor. How could I have dared to trouble an envoy to come out and greet me? Behind Zhang Ning, Xuanhuan clenched her fist so tightly her teeth nearly shattered. She glared at Yang Qingxi as she went to meet the second palace master. Look at her smug face. If she hadn't been delivering the second palace master's orders, why would Miss have to put up with her? Yu Zi wasn't killed by her alone. Zhang Ning shot her a sharp look. The strength Yang Qingxi displayed was inheritor level, and she did indeed perform the greatest feat at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival for the Imperial Court. You should watch your words in the future. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.